Hello and welcome to the Minnesota Department of Health Source Water Protection Grants Program Transient Grant Application Training. As you can see, I have navigated to mdh.fluxx.io and logged in to my grantee profile. This page may look a little different as we continue to update and refine our new Fluxx database, so please bear with us. So to apply for a transient grant, we'll go over here to the left-hand menu and go to Apply for Funding and scroll down and choose the grant application you want. Please note that you are able to click on and open up all grants all the time, so please read the RFP carefully to know which grant and what time of the year you need to be applying for a grant. So again, today we're doing transient grants. Okay, so a few things to note. At the top here, we have your public water supplier name and ID. The fiscal year will show up. And over here, each grant automatically generates a unique ID number, and you may want to refer to that when you go back later. If you have multiple grants, it's an easy way to distinguish them. Another thing to note here is the ribbon, the status ribbon. So it'll show you when it's draft or under submission, when we at MDH maybe have received it. It'll go under review and the different parts of the review process. It'll give you more detail, and then processing, such as it's going through MDH legal office or finance, and then finally either to the granted or to the not accepted phase. So it's kind of a handy way to keep track of what's going on with your grant. Coming down to the table of contents, you can jump to different parts of the application if you'd like, just by clicking on the blue items that are underlined. And then we'll verify the information that's listed about our organization. So this test information is correct. Here we have a question if MDH or rural water staff or delegated authority staff helped you with your application. You can list them here in case the grant reviewers might want to reach out to them. I'm going to say John Doe helped in this case. Here we have some application questions. And please note, if a question is in bold, it is required. So in contrast up here, this is not bolded, so you don't have to list the name of a staff person who helped you. So for this application, we're going to say no, it's not a well sealing project. Does your grant activity pertain to a previous grant application? I'm going to say yes, and again, there's a place later on to put this, but referring to this unique ID that's either up there or you'll find it over here on the left-hand menu, which you can't see very well right now with the application open, but when it's closed, you can go to the menu items and see the different grants that you might have done over the past. And are you a public water supplier? I'm going to say yes. There are a few cases where it's okay if you are not, but in general, you do need to be a public water supplier in order to apply for these grants. And I'm going to say no for whether I'm representing more than one application. All right, so I'm going to say for our project summary that we have a nitrate problem and we need to install treatment for nitrate. And it's generally good practice to say why that we need to install this treatment. That's because nitrate levels have exceeded legal limits. And I'm also going to mention the documentation and the reasoning for applying at this time. So I'm going to say that our sanitarian has recommended treatment. Whoop. There's an email also from well management describing the issue with wells in this area. And maybe I have a sanitary survey say it's attached. All right, generally 2 to 3 sentences is plenty for this section. Since this is an application to install treatment, we need an alternate source water determination. Generally, we only need those for applications that are doing treatment. Next, we get into, are you under any violations? And it says a project eval form is required for a notice of violation or a administrative penalty order. So you do need to select one. If you don't have any, you can select none. Click to highlight and then move it over with the arrows. And you can move it back if you select the wrong one. I'm going to say we have a notice of violation for our nitrate, so I'm going to move that over here. And is this grant application to support the completion of an item in the sanitary survey? I'm going to say yes. And now we get down to some more detail in the work items. Okay, so we said that this was a work item regarding the sanitary survey. Common activities, may also be something that you want to use when you're doing a transient grant. So common activities, and then there are different options that come up as common activities: data collection, education, security, spill response, stormwater best management, well management, well sealing, things like that. You can also say other. If you say other, then you need to specify what it is. But for this, we're going to do sanitary survey. And just note that management strategies is a thing that likely comes up mostly in implementation grants. So we're picking sanitary survey. And we are doing something with treatment. But these 3 treatment items do not have a mention of nitrate. So we're going to go down farther, and we're going to go to water system management recommendation. We have increasing levels of nitrate, so I'm going to pick that one. And describe the work that will be performed. Install nitrate treatment system. Is it a continuation of a previous MDH grant? I'm going to say no for this one. We're not sealing a well. Is a work area for this item located in a DWISMA? That is mostly for implementation grants. Unless you have a wellhead protection plan or surface water intake plan, you don't likely have a DWISMA. I'm going to say no. Will the outcome of this work item protect the source of drinking water or support drinking water protection? I'm going to say we'll have nitrate and it will protect public health. All right, and then estimate the total cost of the work item. I'm going to say $16,000 to install this treatment system and requesting that. So since this is a transient grant, we do at MDH require a 1-to-1 cost share. So we have to ask for $8,000 then. The system has to contribute $8,000 and then ask for $8,000 from MDH, and I'll hit save. We try to be a little patient with Fluxx. There it is. And now this will pop up. If you want to edit the work item, again, you just go back in here, click edit, and you can change things around and then hit save again if you make any changes. And the work item has its own unique ID number. So we are going to, as a check to make sure that what you entered up here is what you really want, we're just going to enter this again. Estimated total cost of the project is $16,000. We are asking for $8,000, and then the estimated cost share is $8,000. So that is a 1-to-1 match. And we want to know where the cost share amount is coming from. So this is similar to up there with the violations. I'm going to say I will use my own resources and move that over. If you have something else, you can say other, move that over, and then you have to specify and move that back. In this case, let's say maybe we have a federal grant. You move that over, and then we need to say where the federal grant is coming from. I'm going to say something from the Natural Resource Conservation Service. Maybe there's a CRP program, Conservation Reserve Program, keeping land in conservation instead of row crop to reduce the nitrate around the wellhead. Something like that. And then how much did you receive from the federal grant? We'll say $20,000. Now we are almost done here. We just need to attach some documents. I am going to save. I should mention that it does not automatically save. So I probably should have saved before this actually. And you'll see that it's doing this little updating over here in the blue rectangle on the right. There, now we've saved. So it is required that you do a conflict of interest form. You can click on this to download it. It'll come up in just a second. See it here. And then you can type within these boxes, all except for the signature page. So fill out everything except for the signature. If you want to, you can print it out, sign it with a pen, scan it in, and then upload it to your application. You can also just fill it out, leave the signature blank, apply, and then on our end, when we get your application, we'll check your conflict of interest and we'll send you a DocuSign to sign it electronically if you haven't signed already. So that might be a easier option for you if you like. So down here, let's say I filled out my conflict of interest form, then I need to upload it by pressing on that green plus sign. I'm going to add files, navigate to the conflict of interest, start upload. There it is. And then you'll see it appear down here. Give it just a minute to get settled. And then you can also add things such as an itemized quote from the contractor. Maybe you have a estimate of how much this treatment system is going to cost. If you want to, you can add that. It certainly helps your application, but it is not required. So we're just going to say just add whatever for right now. I also had said earlier in the application that we have a email from well management saying that treatment is the best option in your scenario. So that's another thing. We can just add general documents here too. Grant documents, go to this little plus sign, and we could add that email, or maybe you have a longer explanation that you want to attach. You can do that. And we said above that we need an alternate source evaluation. We'll add that as well. Here we go. Start the upload. All right. Now I'm going to save and close this application. And I'm going to hit submit now. And you'll notice that I have an error. So you can jump to it. And I didn't include my notice of violation document or my project evaluation form, which are required. So if there's something you forgot that was required, including some of these bolded areas, that will show up here in the errors, and you can go back and get a chance to fix that. And Oh, I added that in the project eval form. If you do add the wrong document in the wrong space, you can always just delete it here and redo it. This record will be deleted. Are you sure? Okay. You get an option to do it again. Just add that again. So obviously I wouldn't want two alternate source request forms. I would want my NOV, but for the sake of time, we're just putting that in as a placeholder. All right, and there you have it. You can hit save and close and submit after we get this project eval form up, and you are good to go. And now we'll submit. You're about to submit. Okay. All right, and then it says received right here. So that means MDH has received it on their end. And we can note that this is ID number 2069. So if we go over here to my submitted applications and give it a minute. There. Okay, sometimes we have to be a little patient with Fluxx. There it is, 2069. So you'll note that my submitted application took a minute to show up in the submitted applications. So you can either just wait another minute, or you can go up here and refresh your browser, or sometimes it gives these little orange updates and you can just click on those and that'll help. So thank you for watching this video about Transient